We're getting lucky here. We've got Melissa Lantsman going to defeat one of the other legacy media, one of the worst out there. David Cochrane, this bald-headed sycophant zealot, is going to try to attack Melissa Lantsman. She can handle herself. David Cochrane, he can't handle anything but his CBC paycheck. He's a shill. Let's take a look. Melissa Lantsman's not a shill. She's a stud. Let's get...
Hey, that's something everyone can enjoy.
Okay, so that's the positive reaction from the progressive conservative premier of Nova Scotia, but the federal conservatives are having a much different response. Joining me now, Melissa Lantsman is the federal conservative deputy leader. Ms. Lantsman, it's good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Good to be here.
You heard Tim Houston. He's proud, he's excited. Pierre Poilievre said what he saw today was pathetic. Explain that to me. Why that reaction?
Well, look, I understand a lot about politics. What I don't understand is the news day that we're having today. Like, you have now a list, so you put 5 projects on a list to then send to an office that's not yet fully staffed up, that doesn't fully have its mandate very clear, only for them to maybe approve those projects to go along. So again, I understand a lot about politics, but I don't understand how this is news. And the reason I don't understand that, it's because it's not news.
She's right. It is not news. This is all bogus, delay, divide, distract, liberal playbook tactics. Melissa's going to point that out for David, who's not going to quite understand. And he'll make arguments for the Liberals. Wait and see.
And the very fact that there are many, many different ways, and we've proposed these solutions before, to get government out of the way rather than picking the winners and the losers and putting them on a list and then sending them to an office that maybe one day they will be approved, maybe one day there will be investment here, maybe one day there will be a shovel in the ground. But this today is not that thing.
Okay, well, I mean, it is not just, as your leader said, an email going to an office where they may approve it. If you listen to the explanation from the Prime Minister today, and I'll get your response to this, is that they will help proponents structure financing, navigate regulations, deal with Indigenous consultations if necessary, work through federal and provincial regulations. Now, it may create an uneven playing field between the projects that are picked and those that are not, but it is more than just say yay or nay, is it not?
It certainly creates an unlevel playing field, but take that aside. The projects on the list today are partly way through approvals. Mm-hmm. These are not brand new projects that Canadians would have expected on a list of projects of national interest, like a pipeline or something like that. Here's what we're proposing, and we've proposed it over and over again, and it's exactly what industry has said. And to the Premier's point, it's exactly what would have given them the confidence to invest in Canada well before, because these things were profitable and they were ready to go. And there are 38 of them that are currently somewhere without government approval. But we've got things in the way, things like an anti-energy law in C-69, things like a tanker ban off of the West Coast, things like an energy cap, things like an industrial carbon tax. So if you're going to make the admission that those are the things that are stopping proponents from investing and stopping us from developing our resources, stopping us from standing on our own 2 feet, being resilient, lining the pockets of a trading partner that has started a trade war with us, then why not get rid of those?
Well, I know there may be some flexibility on things like the emissions cap, for example, but I don't think the industrial... Well, we'll see, because I want to get to something, because they're not going to get rid of the industrial pricing system, as you have advocated, because I think, in fact, the Prime Minister had suggested that that's the system you could use to make up some of the slack from losing the consumer carbon price. But I need to help me square...
You've just made a better argument than the government has made up until today with Canadians.
Okay.
And that's the very point. They haven't...
He sees that he's outmatched. He's been on with Melissa Lantsman before, and she's toasted this bald-headed freak's arguments, and she's going to do it again. You can see his frustration that he has no corner to hide in
told us any of this in terms of how they're going to get these through. Right now, it's an office, it's a list, it's a new bureaucracy, it's a new approvals process, and we're nowhere further today.
So help me understand your pessimism squared with what we heard from Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, who, like you, has not been a fan of Liberal governments for the past number of years. She said today, I can tell you that when I looked at the first 5 projects, I thought, finally, they get it, because it's all the projects that have been difficult to build. She says her meetings with the Prime Minister is about as encouraging as any meeting I've had with the federal government in a long time, and she urged Albertans to be patient. I mean, she has been on the front line of fighting federal Liberal policy for a long, long time, as you would know, and she was praising this today.
Well, no doubt, and I suspect that if you asked her about the energy cap and if you asked her about the anti-energy laws in C-69 or the tanker ban or the industrial carbon tax, or she would have advocated that too.
She has an industrial carbon tax provincially. Alberta has one.
And so
he's such a child. Oh my God, he's disgusting. David Cochrane is a piece of...
So she's advocated for our position. She's got a job to do, and we've got a job to hold this government to account. They've been here for 6 months after an election that was, that was mission critical to get our economy restarted in the face of Donald Trump's trade war. And today, 6 months later, after promising a first list, remember in the first minister's meeting before the summer started, they finally have a list of 5 projects that they've picked that are no further along this afternoon than they were this morning, than they were during the election campaign.
So when you look at the first 5, yes, they were further along, and we're going to talk to one of the proponents coming up to get a more detailed explanation from them on what this actually means. But this next tranche, where they've identified critical minerals as something they want to help fast track, the wind project, for example, off the coast of Nova Scotia, northern, year-round infrastructure and Ring of Fire and these sorts of things. I mean, what do you make of those, the intention there and the promise to help get these things moving, maybe with some announcements by the Grey Cup in the middle of November?
Well, look, it's there. That's exactly it. It's just promises. You're judging somebody by the speeches they make at a podium or what they put in a press release, and not the actual results. And again, we're no further along. Again, it's been 6 months since Prime Minister Carney has been elected, and this is where we're at. Of course, Conservatives will advocate for resource projects. We have since the beginning, and will advocate for the real things that need to be done in this country to attract investment, to attract proponents, and to make us actually more self-reliant rather than pick winners and losers and send them to an office in Calgary.
Okay, so nothing redeemable from today. Nothing good from this announcement whatsoever. I mean, is that what I'm taking from it?
We want to see action. That's all we want to see, and we'll go back to the House on Monday and press them with the Canadian Sovereignty Act. Our job is to oppose the government where they need to be opposed and present solutions. That's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to bring forward the Sovereignty Act, which takes care of some of those regulations, has a piece on dropping capital gains for reinvestment in Canada, all of those things. So they have an opportunity to actually make it clear to industry, make it clear to investors, make it clear to the Americans, and make it clear to our trading partners where we stand and with whether we're open for business. So we'll wait till Monday and the week that Parliament returns to do that. And I'm sure we'll be talking about this and another list at some point.
I have no doubt. One last question before I let you go, because we're tight on time. No pipeline in these announcements, but discussion of a pipeline today linked to the carbon capture proposal from the Pathways Alliance, which is in that second tranche, saying that is maybe the path to getting a new oil pipeline built, because it will also help meet the emissions reduction target. Is that a viable path? Danielle Smith called it the grand bargain.
I think you're gonna see this dangling, and that's because he has the very same anti-pipeline ministers that he had that this country has had for 10 years that stopped pipelines from being built. So, more to be seen, but I'm not gonna be hopeful on that one.
Okay, Melissa Lantsman, Deputy Conservative Leader. We'll see you in Ottawa on Monday.
So Melissa Lantsman is a star, there's no doubt. These hacks at CBC, CTV, the legacy media, cannot handle this little firecracker deputy leader of the Conservative Party. She might be like one of our next prime ministers. Fingers crossed for Pierre Poilievre. We'll have to wait and see. What is wrong with David Cochrane? Believe it or not, it's not incompetence. He's not just stupid. He's a charlatan, a snake oil salesman for the Liberal Party, and he's trying to dupe Canadians. That's his job, he thinks. He's a sociopath. Total nut, in my opinion. Aaron Canadian Looney, thank you very much for watching. We'll catch you in the next video. That's it. Again, we'll catch you in the next one. Parliament is back on Monday. We'll be covering Question Period live. Come and join us. Aaron Canadian Looney, like, share, subscribe. Catch you in the next video.